All right, today we're going to talk about multiplying mixed numbers. We've been working on multiplying fractions. So multiplying mixed numbers is a little bit different. Go and write your title and then your I can statement. I can follow the strategy to multiply mixed numbers. Now sometimes we'll have mixed numbers like, and we'll think, okay, well, I need to double something. To double something means to times it by 2. And that would be easy enough because remember multiplication is repeated addition. So we have 2.5 plus 2.5, and we've already learned how to add fractions or add mixed numbers. So this should work out pretty well. We would add our 2's and get 4, and then we would add our halves and get another whole, and we would have 5. But we have to know the strategy because sometimes it won't be as easy as just multiplying by 2. Sometimes we'll need to multiply mixed numbers times other mixed numbers. So let's start kind of small and very practical, very much something that we would do if we were at home making breakfast. We're going to make some pancakes. So the pancake recipe says that it needs 2 1/4 cup of pancake mix. It needs 1 egg, and it needs 1 2/3 cup of milk. So we're having a lot of people over. We want to know how much of the pancake mix, how many eggs, and how much milk we're going to need if we double the recipe. And then we're also going to need to know how much of it we're going to need if we triple the recipe. Well, double means that we're going to times it by 2, and triple, I bet you know this one. It means the times by 3. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and think if I have 2 1/4 cups of pancake mix and I need to double it. This is for the pancake mix. Also Picola's initials. So our first rule for multiplying fractions was to make sure both numbers were a fraction. So the first thing I'm going to see is I need to put this 2 over 1. From there, I have to think about this mixed number. This mixed number here is not going to be easy enough to multiply. All mixed numbers, I'm going to have to get mad at them. I have to make them an improper fraction for them to work. So in your notebook, go ahead and make this an improper fraction. Remember, when we get mad, we times and then we add, and you should have a new fraction to work with. And I'm going to bet that it's over 4 because our D of mad means denominator. Okay, so you got mad at the fraction and you got a new number on top. You should have gotten the number 9 on top of that fraction. Then, as the video said yesterday, all we have to do is multiply across. You can choose to do this, or you can cross reduce. Totes up to you. But I'm going to get 18 over 4. And then that 18 falls into the house. And I say, okay, how many, 4 times what is close to 18? How many groups of 4 can I make? I can make 4 groups. I'm left with 16 down below. Subtract. Now I have 2 left over. So my final answer, I'm going to have 4 cups with 2 left over 4. I still have to simplify because the 2 and the 4 are even. So I have 4.5 cups of pancake mix. Next we can go down to the milk part. We need to first get a improper fraction, so we're going to get mad. So I'm going to get mad at this, multiply and add. I got 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 more is 5. And then I multiply across, and I get 10 on top and 3 on bottom. Then my 10 falls into the house. 3 times what gets me close to 10, and I'm left with 1 down here, so I have the mixed number of 3 and 1/3. And skip over to this other side here. Okay, so now we want to triple the recipe, so we're timesing it by 3. So I took my 3 and I put it over 1. I had to get a fraction. Then I have a mixed number here, so I need to get mad at it. Multiply and add. So my number on top will be 9. It's the same mixed number as we got before. It doesn't change just because I'm multiplying by 3. Then, as my video said yesterday, multiply across. And of course that 27 is going to fall into the house just like this, and that 4 is going to be on the outside. 4 times what gets me close to 27? So I'm going to have 6. I take that top number here. It becomes my whole number. I have some leftovers right there. And so that's how much pancake mix I'm going to need if I triple it. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and give you your steps, because this way, anytime you're trying to multiply mixed numbers, you will know all the steps to do. So step 1, we want to make both numbers fractions, but sometimes we don't have both numbers. Sometimes we have 3. So here we have 1.5 times 3/4 times 3. We're going to times all of these, and we're not going to need the same bottom number like when we were adding and subtracting. So the first thing we're going to do is get this number to a improper fraction. So we're going to get mad at it. 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 more is 3. Our denominator stays the same. This 3/4 is just going to scoot down, and this 3 right here is going to be 3/1. Now we have them all as fractions. Okay, so we're going to go on to step 2. Step 1 was to make both numbers fractions. We're going to move on to step 2, which is multiply across, just like the video said. Especially if we have 3 fractions like this, it just works out better. So we have 3 times 3 is 9. And then we have 9 times 3 is... I hope you wrote 27 down, not just waiting for me to give you an answer. And then we multiply our bottom numbers. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 1 is... And then we go on to our step 3. We notice that in step 2, the top is way bigger than the bottom is. So it's going to go ahead and fall into the house, so we need to simplify. Our 27 goes here. Our 8 goes on the outside. We think, okay, 8 times what comes close to 27? Well, I know there's one where it comes up to 24. And I know there's, if I times it by 3, and if I times it by 4, it comes up to 32. So which one will I choose? So I put my 3 up top. Remember, if I have 2 items, I can't make a group. So I put my 3 up top. I have 24 down below. I subtract. I have 3 left over. So now with that, step 4 would be I make a mixed number. Okay, so the last part of this is we're going to make a mixed number. Step 4 is make a mixed number. So we said 27 divided by 8. We have 3 up top. So whatever's on top of our division problem up here, it's going to be our whole number, because it says, hey, we can make 3 groups of 8 out of 27. When we made 3 groups of 8, we had 24 items, and we had 3 left over. So our 3 goes up top, and then our denominator stays the same, which is the number on the outside of your division problem. We might have to simplify from here, but 3 is prime, so the only number that it can be divided by is 3, and 8 cannot. If you have 2 even numbers here, you're going to have to do some more dividing. Okay, so we're going to do a little practice here. We're going to do step 1, make both fractions. This one's going to be improper. We're going to get mad at it, keep the denominator the same. We multiply 2 times 4 is plus 3. We should have 11 there. We're going to go ahead and get mad at this one too. We're going to leave the 3 on the bottom. 3 times 3 is plus 1 is, we should have 10 up top. And then we multiply across. Well, 10 times 11 is 110. And 4 times 3 is 12. This is one of those situations where cross-reducing would come in handy. We could say, hey, these are both even. Let's divide by 2. And say, okay, 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And instead of having this and this, we would have 55 over 6. Either of these work. To show you that either one of these work, I'm going to do the math on both. So my 110 is going to fall in the house. And then we have to work with 12 on the outside. Well, if I have one item, I can't make a group of 12. If I have 11 items, I can't make a group of 12. But if I have 110, I can. And I know that 12 times 9 is 108. So when I subtract this, I get 2. And I can make my mixed number with that. I have 9, 2's left over, and 12's out on the bottom, the denominator. But notice the top and the bottom are still even. So then I have to divide by 2 and divide by 2. And I have 9 and 1, 6. So that's that way. If I cross reduce first, still have to do with this division problem. Well, if I have 5 items, I can't make a group of 6. But I know that 6 times 9 is 54. And when I subtract, I have that. I take my how many groups I made. I take my leftovers and my denominator. So here, in this one, I did a little more work in the beginning. Here I did a little more work at the end. Either way, we still got the same answer.
What time is lunch?
All right, so we are going to do this last practice problem for I Turn You Loose. So we have 2 mixed numbers here. We're going to go ahead and get mad at them, make some improper fractions. Our denominators will stay the same. But we have 7 times 3 plus 1. We should have 22 here. Here we have 4 times 1 plus 1. We have 5 here. And then we have a choice. We can either cross reduce or multiply across. If we multiply across, we get, okay, so we have 110 on top. And we have 7 times 4 on the bottom. That's if we just multiply across. We could also cross reduce. Divide this by 2. And divide this one by 2. So here we would have 11. And here we would have 2. And we could get the, this is super weird. It's almost the same problem as last time. But, so then we would throw the 110 in the house, have 28 on the outside, or we could throw the 55 in the house and have 14 on the outside. Not a 1, that's part of the house. And then we could divide. Okay, so we think, well, I can't make a group of 28 with 1. I can't make a group of 28 with 11. But I need to make 110. Well, I don't know that off the top of my head, so I'm going to do some math over here. Let's try 2. Ooh, we're way off. Let's try 4. Oh, so close. Let's try 3. Well, that's the closest we're going to get. So we put our 84 down below. Got our 3 up top because our 4 was too high. So we subtract. We got to borrow. So we have leftover 16. So we have like this, and they're still even. So we have to divide by 2. Divide by 2. And we get, oops, I forgot my 2 there. 3 and 8/14. They're still divisible by 2. So we're going to divide by 2. Divide by 2. And now we have 3 and 4/7. You do the same thing with that problem. Go ahead and do that on your own. No one has guessed my secret number yet, so look back at previous videos to get the clues. All right, happy mathing.